Welcome back to the AI Ripple Effect podcast, everybody. Today, we're lucky enough to have Dan Norton, who's the VP of Product from Paccurate. Welcome to the podcast, Dan.
Thanks for having me, Adrian. Happy to be here.
Great to have you on board. Why don't you start by giving us a little bit of background about yourself and your journey, and also more about Paccurate and who you serve from a customer perspective.
So I am the VP of Product here at Paccurate. I've been here for 4 years. It's my first job in supply chain, but I've been building software for the past 15 years in marketing, advertising, SaaS technology, that type of stuff. When I joined in 2021, I was the first engineering hire. There was just our 2 co-founders and our a senior sales leader. So the company has grown to about 30 people since then. On the product team, we've been able to grow from essentially 2 of us to now there are 7, 8 of us in total, which is great. And our whole team is just shy of 30 right now. When I joined, Paccurate was essentially just a little packing algorithm. It's 3D cubing with a cost-aware angle. So we take cost into consideration anytime we're packing a box, a trailer, or any sort of outer cube. And so when I got brought in, my task was to just take that nugget of the engine and turn it into a suite of applications for the marketplace. The timing of that was aligned with COVID and the uptick in e-com business that shippers were seeing. With the sort of influx of online shopping, now your carriers of UPS, FedEx, and USPS are introducing DIM charges, and so shippers are paying more and more money. How can we solve this problem? Well, it's by reducing the amount of cardboard and volume you're putting out the door. So it has been a really interesting journey as the market has matured and as our team has grown and the opportunities that have come along.
And then you serving a whole spectrum from the big players to the smaller organizations? For
sure. And that has been probably a pretty big challenge, is making sure that our products can serve folks at different scales. Our key market is enterprise shippers, because they're the ones with the best data and the most operationally mature, I think, is the way that I think about it. Is smaller guys, a lot of the time they'll want just an estimate on how pallets it's going to take given some inputs. But at the same time, their data is often bad or inconsistent, or they are really flexible on their processes, right? So if you can turn your operations into a fix, essentially into code, and make it easily automatable, that's where we really come in. I think there's been sort of product evolution that has helped us on one end of the market. And I think eventually will help us get even more coverage, a little bit more down market for medium to small businesses.
Awesome. I mean, I guess there's a huge benefit as well from you're optimizing that package and the space from a sustainability perspective. So you can ensure that the carbon footprint for whatever that crate or that pallet is minimized.
Yeah, big time. And it's really interesting. We get all sorts of different directions in, right? There are ESG initiatives or PPWR initiatives from larger organizations where it's more of a customer experience and like corporate pride, right? We want to make sure we're sending the customer a well-packed box because we don't want to get lit up on social media for overpacking.
Sure.
And sometimes that can lead to actually more expensive fulfillment costs, but a lot of the times companies in that positions have such good negotiated rates with shippers that kind of matter, right? So there's a more mid-market are a little more concerned with like the margin and saving the cost, in addition to the ESG and sustainability stuff. And I think our mission though is definitely kind of to save the healthy environment, like one box at a time. And we are really focused on trying to improve that carbon footprint of the end user. And the side effect of that is you often do save money in the process. So it's a win-win situation.
Awesome. And interestingly enough, I mean, I know you guys leverage some of this, but what's your take on AI in logistics, both from a positive impact or even potentially, especially around the sustainability piece, any sort of detrimental aspects of it?
Sure. So, it's a bit of a can of worms, depending on which way to go. I think what we are proud of is we want to be in a position to help make labor more efficient, but we often run the gamut of like effectively replacing people's jobs. So there's this future of a dark warehouse where you have automated robots, you have a ton of automation, and the only way that automation works is if you have great dimensional data and technology that can handle it the right way. And we are in a position of being one of a solution provider for that, right? Like,
Right.
how do you tell a robot how to build a pallet or depalletize something? How do you tell a package that needs to go to what a bagging machine versus just a normal pack out station, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, the, I see this as the bigger, to be the bigger story is automation than rather than AI. I think AI is a marketing term on top of machine learning with some uh, user accessible interfaces on top of it. And I think AI, especially in the logistics space, needs to be very like watched very closely, because if you have one decision that's wrong, like there's so many systems that can fall to pieces, right? And we
Absolutely.
see that ourselves, right? Like I think there's some risk in positioning things as AI because it assumes that you're removing decision making from the human intervention to the process. And the way that I think of it is, our tools are highly configurable, and it's not necessarily that a machine is making decisions for you. You're instructing a machine on how to make the decision, right? So
Right.
being able to configure machines to work the right way, and take in all of the very real operational constraints of your business, makes for better decision making, no matter what system it is, whether it's just automation or effectively an AI tool. And
Sure.
for us, there's the value of AI is that the AI works best on a lot of well trained data, right? And so what we have over the past number of years is like a ton of data, right, of packing information.
Sure.
And so as we look forward to our future, like how can we use all that data that has come through our systems, that has been configured, vetted by the user to help drive business decisions, right, strategically more than tactically. I think there's risk in over AIing a lot of things, to put it somewhat simply.
No, I absolutely agree. And often, you need to have those guardrails around AI, both from a prompting and validation perspective, and that needs code, right? So, that's a great point. And obviously, the logistics industry, massive spectrum of technology adoption versus manual processes. And what are you seeing as the key challenges in modernizing using platforms like yourselves when engaging with these logistics companies?
Sure. I mean, let's see. I'm sort of 4 years into my tenure here, and I feel like it's starting to get easier. I think the biggest challenge that we were seeing a lot is bad dimensional information, which for us, it's a make or break. We can't put things in boxes if we don't know how big the things are. So I think as folks are migrating to more cloud-based services, the time between placing an order and making a delivery is expected to be faster and faster. It's the onus is on the customer to like start maintaining good data. And originally it was always a challenge for making the ROI case for us too. Like if
Yeah.
if you don't know how you fulfilled something, how can we tell you that you can fulfill better? So folks seem to be adopting more data analysis roles in the teams, at least who we're engaging with,
Yeah.
and people are understanding that data is valuable so that they can make more informed decisions on tools and platforms like ours. And I think that also I think is a net positive of the sort of the AI hype that's going on, right? In order for it to be valuable, you need good data. It comes in all sorts of shapes and forms. I think in the logistics space, we have a lot of very closed systems for obvious reasons, right? You don't want anything interfering with your operation in your warehouse. But as technologies get long in the tooth and technologists are starting to understand that there are ways to move to the cloud for a lot of this stuff, those sort of transitions come with upgrading of all systems, right? And
Sure.
that involves dimensioning and it involves improving infrastructure. And so in a lot of ways, we've been able to be parts of those sort of migrations.
Awesome. And obviously, there are those challenges within the industry from a modernization perspective. But what about Paccurate and your journey so far? What have been the biggest hurdles that you've had to overcome or you're still faced with?
Sure. I think what's nice about where we are now is that we have made a name for ourselves as being the cubing guys, right? When the company was founded, Paccurate as a cartization engine was part of a transportation management software system that our co-founders are working on, and they were told this has been solved. It's not worth it because it is a quagmire. That was not wrong, but it just took a long time to really wrap your brain around all the challenges of doing this. And a lot of the players in our space are trying to do a lot of things. We are strictly focused on like what's in the box. And there are some key things that we're able to do that I think position us quite well. The cost awareness and that having patents around that is a unique value prop. There is speed, right? That's one thing that we go to market with quite a bit is we can be as fast as shopping cart integration.
Right.
We also sort of introduced this whole idea of simulation and like relatively quick turnaround of, hey, before you introduce a piece of automation or a new box suite, use our tools to like look at what that would actually mean.
Right.
And it took us a while to kind of get to that point, right? To be able to take what was essentially Excelware and manual and turn it into a user-facing pretty UI that has done really well for us over the past couple of years to at least get people to understand that we are looking at cartonization as sort of a holistic problem that addresses a ton of different KPIs, and it's kind of easy to see how the box problem can impact so much.
Right.
Now, it took us a while to get there, and it's always a challenge getting data. One of the things that we also get bucketed as is sort of phase two-itis. If we're part of a larger integration,
Yeah, sure.
folks are spinning up a whole new WMS system and spending a lot of money on automation tools. Like, okay, well, is cartonization actually a problem for us? Well, it's cool that you can like see a visual of all these things and get all these stats, but is it really worth it, right? So
It was like an
how do we
afterthought once they've got all their main tech stack in place, then they go to you.
Correct. And so what's been really great over the past, number of months is partnering with like players in the space like PackSize and Cubiscan. Like these are folks who are on the ground in the places that we want to be in, and partnering with them and having them essentially validate our position in the market has been huge, right?
Right.
Because when it comes to cubing, we cover as many use cases or as kind of feasible. It's very rare that we get approached with a problem that we can't solve with the API. So that like, flexibility and ability to kind of handle all sorts of stacking, nesting, property limits, and all the inputs for a packing decision, being able to take all that in and make instant decisions and kind of per customer basis really has served us well. And we want to be like a tool for anyone doing any of these like large scale rollouts. So as folks are maturing in their fulfillment journey and starting to adopt these new technologies, we're becoming kind of a key factor in that. Like, are we making the right decisions with boxes? Who do we turn to find out? Well, we're the ones that you should be talking to.
Got it. Excellent. So obviously you've come on a journey. You're the VP of product, and you came on relatively recently in that growth journey. What does the next 12 months hold for Paccurate?
I would say recently, I'm an old man in this company right now. I'm basically a veteran. But I would say, to your point, in the growth journey, compared to all of the pre-seed round and pre-raise stuff, yes, that all took about 8 years before they could even start hiring people like myself. The next 12 months, we want to expand our tendrils into third-party platforms, right? Whether it's making it easy for folks further down market to just plug in and say like, I got Paccurate, because those integrations, their packing is complicated, and so we want to obviously deliver the best experience. It does take a little bit of time to engage with customers. We want to be able to make everything kind of as plug and play as possible, and essentially partner more with not only VMSs but also ASRS and AMR providers, right? So the robotics and automation space is going to be a big thing for us. I mean, we also really leaning into reporting and alerting and being able to give people more insight on demand of the type of on what's actually going on in their boxes.
Right. Fascinating. That's really great. I mean, for the guys out there, Dan, who are interested in finding more out about Paccurate, where can they go?
It's easy. It's an easy one. We're pretty active on LinkedIn as well. So look up Paccurate. We're there posting bad packs and touting the value of cartonization.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure I include those links in the description of the podcast so that people can find out more about Paccurate. It sounds like a great product. So listen, thank you, Dan, very much for sharing your insights and being with us today. Thank you all for coming to watch and listen today. We'll see you in the next episode of the AI Ripple Effect. Dan, for now, thank you.
Thank you, Adrian.